So today I'm going to be giving you a meal plan that's going to be around 2,000 calories and 220 grams of protein. This is going to be a good meal plan for anybody that is trying to lose body fat and build muscle. And if you are somebody who is on the lighter side, or if you're heavier than this, then I'll also give you some tips on how you can modify this meal plan. My name is Coach Sam. I'm a fitness coach. I have lost 100 pounds in 6 months when I first got into fitness. And then there have been times when I've, lost 30 pounds of body fat to really cut up. Then I've bulked up. So I've been doing this for, I want to say about 11, 12 years now. And I've helped thousands of people so far lose body fat and build muscle. And on average, my clients lose 3 pounds of body fat a week. And a year later, they have been able to keep the weight off. So that's a little bit about me. This video is important because you could be like, if your goal is to get rid of some love handles or get rid of some back rolls and you want to tone up, you could be exercising right. You could be doing the dance classes. You could be doing all the exercise classes. But if you're not eating right, if you don't know how to eat a meal plan that is lower in calories, higher in protein, you're not going to get the result that you're looking for. So this is why this video is important. Why does a meal plan need to be high in protein? Protein is good for fat loss for a few reasons. Because if your protein is high, you will be able to build muscle as you lose weight. If your protein is low, you will lose muscle as you lose weight. If you lose muscle as you lose weight, you could lose 50 pounds and you'll still look a little soft and you'll look kind of skinny fat. You're not going to look toned. But if you lose 50 pounds and you build muscle, you will look way more toned. Ladies, you'll have more curves, like your arms will be toner. Fellas, you'll be more toned. You'll have more muscle mass. You'll look more like an action figure. Now, how much protein do most people eat versus how much should they eat? Most people eat around 100 grams of protein a day or 50 grams of protein a day. But in reality, most people should be eating at least 150 grams of protein or 200 grams of protein a day. So most of us are like vastly under eating the amount of protein that we should be eating. And you want to be eating 1 gram of protein for every pound of your ideal body weight. So if it is your goal to weigh 150 pounds, then you should be eating 150 grams of protein. If it's your goal to weigh 200 pounds, then eat 200 grams of protein. And most people do not get that. And if you don't get in enough protein, you are not going to build as much muscle as you're going to be able to build. Also, not eating enough protein, it makes it harder for you to stick to your diet and be in a calorie deficit, which makes it harder for you to lose body fat. So not eating enough protein, it causes you to lose muscle and it makes it harder for you to lose fat. Now, in this plan I'm giving you, it's going to be 4 meals. Okay, it's going to be a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. Now, this is for the people that are looking to lose body fat and build muscle. Let's get into it. Meal number 1 is going to be protein oatmeal. Regular oatmeal might have 10 or 12 grams of protein. Protein oatmeal could have 50 or 60 grams of protein in it. So this is how we make it. We're going to use a half a cup of dry oats. We're going to add in 2 scoops of whey protein powder. We're going to add half a cup of berries. And for the base, you can add water or sugar-free almond milk. Now, if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you can just use plant-based or vegan protein powder instead of using the whey protein. But if you're not, use whey protein because it's going to give you more protein, so a bigger bang for your buck. Now, I love starting the day with protein oatmeal because if you're going to do a workout after breakfast, this is going to give you a lot of energy for your workout. And even if you're not, it's going to give you plenty of protein to start your day with. Now, if you don't want to put the protein powder in your oatmeal, you don't have to. You can just make the oatmeal by itself, and then you can have the protein shake by itself. That's also fine. It's the same amount of ingredients, the same amount of calories, the same amount of protein. You'll be fine that way. All right, let's move on to meal number 2. For meal number 2, we are going to do chicken, rice, and vegetables. So it's going to be 7 to 8 ounces of cooked chicken breast. It's going to be 1 cup of cooked rice, and it's going to be 1, 2, or 3 cups of broccoli. You can add as many vegetables to this as you want. Now, this is an amazing meal because it's so easy to prepare and it's so high in protein, so low in calorie. It's going to be amazing to help you build muscle while you're losing body fat. Now, how do we prep this in bulk so that we can just meal prep for the week. So we're going to cook all of our chicken in bulk. So you buy a bunch of chicken, you bake it in your oven or you cook it on the grill, but you cook it in bulk. You can then freeze the chicken. You also cook your vegetables in bulk as well too. And then you can freeze that. And you do the same thing with your rice. You cook it and then you can freeze it. Now, before you freeze it, what you could do if you want to take it this far, you could literally weigh out 8 ounces of chicken and put it in the Tupperware containers. You can weigh out 1 to 3 cups of broccoli. You can weigh out 1 cup of rice, and then you can just put your meals in Tupperware and then just store it in your fridge. Put some in the freezer so that they last longer. Now, what I used to do when I did not cook at all is I would just buy frozen chicken breast that was pre-cooked. I would buy frozen vegetables that was pre-cooked. I would get pre-cooked rice, and then I would just assemble everything right before I threw it in the microwave. So that's like an easy, fast way for you to meal prep without having to meal prep. Next, meal number 3, aka dinner, is going to be lean ground beef and sweet potato and some veggies. So it's going to be 8 ounces of cooked 93% lean ground beef. We're going to do that with 1 medium sweet potato, and we're going to do that with a side of broccoli or green beans, etc. And the same with that. If you want to cook that one in bulk, do the same thing. Cook all of the ground beef in one sitting, cook all of your veggies, cook all of your sweet potato. Actually weigh out the correct serving sizes, put it in Tupperware, store some in your fridge, store some in your freezer. I highly recommend meal prepping because if your food is already prepped, you don't have to think about it. So I highly recommend you do that. Next, we're going to move on to the late night snack. Now, before you go to bed, you're going to do a protein shake. You're going to make it with 2 scoops of whey protein powder, and you're going to make it with water or some sugar-free almond milk. So just the protein powder and water, or the protein powder and sugar-free almond milk. That's it. That is like 50 grams of protein, and it's like 220 calories. That is amazing. That is an amazing late night snack. The reason why we are including this is because that's what's going to help us get to that 220 grams of protein mark for the day. And it's going to help us keep our calories very low. So when we put this all together, this gives us around 2,000 calories and 220 grams of protein. Now, why is this effective? This is going to be effective because for the average man or the average person, it's going to have you in a calorie deficit. Now, it's going to vary. Some people, this will be a small deficit. Some people, this will be a pretty big deficit. But for your average person, this is going to have you in a calorie deficit, and it's going to be giving you more than enough protein, for the most part, for you to be able to build some muscle. So you'll be losing body fat and building muscle. That's why this is going to be effective. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't like the protein sources that I listed, like let's say you don't like the chicken or you don't like ground beef, then you can just swap out that protein for another protein source. So instead of chicken, you can do turkey. Instead of ground beef, you can do ground turkey, or you can do a steak. You can literally take the chicken and the ground beef and pick any protein source that you like in place of the chicken or the ground beef. Okay, so any type of chicken, beef, steak, fish, egg whites, those are all protein sources. And if you need a full list of protein sources, I'll put one on the screen here. And then you can also just go to Google and then just type in lean protein sources. You can just eat 8 ounces of that instead of the ones that I gave you to eat here. If you don't like the vegetables that I gave you, then you can just use any vegetable that you like. You have to like your meal plan, you know, so pick foods that you like. If you don't like rice and sweet potato, pick the carb sources that you like. You might like quinoa, you might like pasta. Pick the ones that you enjoy the most, but you have to eat this same serving of it that I laid out in this video. So if you want to do a regular potato instead of a sweet potato, don't do like 3 sweet potatoes or 3 regular potatoes. Stick to the serving sizes that I gave you here. Now, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, then you can't do animal-based protein sources. And I get that. Instead, just use a vegetarian or a vegan-based protein source. So that might be tofu, that might be seitan, that might be tempeh. Just pick those instead, or lentils or edamame. Now, if you want to make this meal plan lower in calories and lower in protein, because let's say you're a woman, you weigh around 160 pounds, you want to lose 30 pounds, then we'll just make some slight adjustments. We will shrink the serving sizes. So instead of eating 1 cup of cooked rice or 1 full medium sweet potato, we're going to do half that. We're going to eat half the rice. We're going to eat half the sweet potato. Basically, whenever we want to drop down the calories and protein, we just cut the carbs in half, and then we just slightly reduce the amount of protein that we're eating. So instead of 8, do 6 ounces. Instead of 7, do 5 ounces. Now, if you want to lower your calories, but you want to keep the protein nice and high as it is here, then we can look at the rice and the sweet potato, and we'll just decrease the amount of carbs that we're eating. So instead of doing 1 cup of rice, we can either take the rice out completely, or we can just eat a half a cup of cooked rice. And there you have it. That is a full day of eating that's going to give you 2,000 calories and 220 grams of protein. So if you're trying to lose body fat and build muscle, stick to that meal plan. Do it 7 days in a row, week after week after week. And over the next 3 to 6 months, you are going to look completely different. You're going to be leaner. You're going to have more muscle mass. Now, if you like this content, let me know in the comment section. Also, let me know what you learned from this video and what you would like to learn next. Now, if you would like a custom plan and if you want accountability, then you can click the link in the description and you can book a call with me if you are interested in getting coaching to lose body fat and build muscle. All right, everybody, like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with somebody you know that needs to lose body fat and build muscle, and they want the simple path for fitness. Take care, guys.